Okay, in Weinberg's chapter 1, he examines basically 20th century test making. And he starts the chapter talking about how throughout the 20th century, American educators have bemoaned how students know so little about history. And the way educators assess whether students know things about history or not is give them these multiple choice tests, these multiple choice quizzes, and basically the tests are rigged to create curves where basically to eliminate that which people know, that which students know, and to find out what they don't know. So basically he's saying these tests are rigged to get low results. But then even more importantly, the tests create a sense of that history is this accumulation of content, this accumulation of knowledge, this memorization of dates and facts and events that basically leave history being super duper boring. And students not only find learning history boring, but they especially find textbooks boring. It's been a long time since I've taken a quiz. I guess maybe when I go to get my driver's license, I take a quiz there, and I'm totally nervous about it, and I hate quizzes. Well, I guess I take quizzes when I take personnel development things, like I'll take an online course, and then and things like how to treat coworkers and things like that, and then I'll have multiple choice kind of quiz questions. But really, other than that, in life, I don't get a lot of quizzes. So what I did was I went online to find questions from Kaplan for the AP US History test. And this just has like practice quiz questions. And what you're going to do in your personal journal, your journal this week, is I want you to go to a US history quiz place, maybe Kaplan, somewhere else. And I want you to take, 5, 10 quiz questions, go through it and kind of like just discuss how you feel, what you thought and what you felt during it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So here we go. I'm going to take AP US History practice quiz. So here we go. It opens it up. And I'm going to start. So let's see here. At the time the first Europeans arrived, the Indians of the Great Plains between the Rocky Mountains and the forested areas bordering the Mississippi lived partly by corn culture, but mostly by the buffalo on foot, bow and arrow. Although Europeans regarded all Indians as nomads, a convenient excuse for denying them the land they occupied, only the Plains Indians really were nomadic, even when they did not become so until AD 1550, when they began to break wild mustangs, offspring of European horses turned loose by the Spaniards. This is from the Oxford History of the American People from 1965. According to the excerpt, the Europeans justified which of the following using the livelihood of the Great Plains Indians as evidence? So here's the question. So I'm asked to evaluate this text to try to understand it. Okay, the Europeans justified which of the following? So what are they justifying based on the livelihood of the Great Plains? All-out warfare to eradicate the native population. I don't see anything about all-out warfare. I'm assuming the answer is going to be somewhere here, a convenient excuse for denying them the land they occupied. The creation of an extensive trade network, I didn't read anything about that. European land policy based on the concept that American Indians do not own their land. Okay, so this is getting to the keyword of a land. Convenient excuse for denying them the land, land policy, okay. The creation of an encomienda system to Christianize the plains, nothing about that. So it looks like, just based on reading this and here, this is the correct answer, I'm thinking, and it looks like that's correct. So in this case, I wouldn't really even need to know anything about history or about what happened there. This is just word association. This is just finding like what keywords connect and what keywords kind of don't. Okay, so then here's the answer. Answer 1 is C. Okay, how do I go on to the next one? Next question. Okay, more of the same, where it's a long treatise where I read, so it's Jay's Treaty, 1795. A stipulation treaty according to Article 6, America. Okay, so here's Article 6. Whereas it alleged by diverse British merchants, so that's a weird word, but it's kind of diverse, British merchants and others his majesty's subjects, that debts to a considerable amount, which were bona fide contracted before the peace. I don't know about you all, but I'm like super bored just reading that right now to begin with. still remain owing to them by citizens or inhabitants of the United States. Da, 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 da. Okay. And that by the operation of various lawful impediments since the peace, not only the full recovery of the said debts has been delayed, but also the value and security thereof have been in several instances impaired and lessened, so that by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings, the British creditors cannot. Now, I don't know about you, but I totally want to check my phone. I want to check my email. I want to see if there's anything out and about. My kids would probably want to be checking TikTok at this point. Cannot now obtain, actually have been received full and adequate compensation for the losses and damages which they have thereby sustained. It is agreed that in all such cases where full compensation for such losses and damages cannot, for whatever reason, be actually obtained, had and received by the said creditors on their course of justice, the United States will make full and complete compensation for the same to be said to the creditors. Okay, so I don't know. Is history boring? I mean, this is boring. Is this history or is this like law? You know, this reads actually to me more like a contract, which is what a treaty kind of is. So, okay, stipulation and treaty. America could not guarantee the British debts that existed before the war would be paid. No, it seems that they will make full and complete compensation. Agreed to consume the debts of the citizens and pay the British for compliance with treaty terms of the treaty. No, they're not assuming all of them. They're saying basically that all this like rigmarole if they can't be found. Believe that the British merchants were falsifying claims or refused to acknowledge them. Nope, that's not there. Would only agree to the terms of the treaty if British merchants relinquished all debt claims held with the Americans. Cannot guarantee it existed before the war. Cannot guarantee that British debts exist before the war will be paid. Okay. Alleged. Okay, it's alleged by British merchants debts still remain owing to them. Okay. Not only the full, they want the full recovery. Nor, of course, just cannot now be obtained and actually have received full and accurate losses. It's agreed that in all such cases where full compensation for such outstanding cannot, for whatever reason, be actually obtained, and received like said creditors, make full and complete compensation for the same to the creditors. Could not guarantee the British debts that exist before the war would be paid. Agreed to consume the debts of citizens and pay the British for compliance with terms of the treaty. Believe that the British merchants falsify. It doesn't seem they believe they're falsifying claims. They're not refusing to acknowledge them. All debt claims held with the Americans. So no, only agree, no, I don't like that one, don't believe that one. Agreed to assume the debts of citizens and pay the British for compliance with terms. Could not guarantee British debts that exist before the war. It's either one of these two. I'm going to go with this one. Let's see. Wait, what just happened here? Wait. No, don't do that. No, go back. Okay, wait. Question 2. Here's answer 2. B. With the commercial relation between English and American merchant intertwined, there was still money. Government agreed to consume these debts and pay them British in exchange for British meeting terms of this agreement. So yeah. So I got it right. But again, it had nothing to do with my knowledge of 1795. It had nothing to do with my understanding of British-American relations after the American Revolution. It's purely, am I able to read this bizarre document? So history would matter, actually. Having good historical training would matter for this because then I would know how to read history as like a language, as a foreign language almost, because this almost reads as a foreign language. But me having like a sense of the time period, of the culture, of the context, of historical causation, of this leading to this, leading to this, seems secondary to just linguistic analysis, rhetorical analysis, literary analysis. So I'm still not sure how this is actually getting us to think historically. You know, it's kind of like looking at someone's text messages and asking them questions to just like get into the rigmarole of what the text is. Like, where did John want Susie to meet? It's like, well, okay, he's saying he wants to meet at Olive Garden, but if we really want to understand their relationship, we want to understand their history, we'd want to see, like, is his message, meet me at Olive Garden? When 6 months earlier it was, hey, baby, I love you, I can't wait to see you, let's go to Olive Garden. It's like, whoa, that change is what would be significant, right? We'd want to see that, like, whoa, one is like this long, affectionate thing, this other one is terse. That would give us a sense of historical context, historical difference, and things like that. So me taking this quiz, it's like, wow, if this is what history is basically just literary analysis to try to figure out the logic of what's happening in questions. And that seems pretty freaking boring to me.